Hi everybody, welcome back to Connerty Meadows Farm. I'm Ricky, and today I have been working outside all day. I've had a lot of sun, but I'm really pushing to get some things in the garden done for the simple fact that we're due for some thunderstorms, and I want to make sure that everything gets watered in really well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how we plant our tomatoes in the raised beds. And what we do in the raised beds is slightly different than how we plant our tomatoes in the in-ground garden. All right, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I've done is I've actually laid out all of my tomatoes in the beds in the places that I'm going to put them so that my spacing is correct. On these trellising, I do 4 of each variety in each square, so a total of 8 on these trellises. It is a little bit crowded, but this is what works for us because I heavily prune these. So the first thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna move my tomato aside, and we're gonna dig through the straw and move it aside there until we get to the dirt. So now that we are down at the dirt, I just grab another bucket here and I'm gonna just scoop dirt into our bucket, and I am going to go down a very long way. Okay, so as you can see, our tomatoes are really tall and spindly looking. Now, one thing with tomatoes is if you look, there's a lot of little nubbies and hairs right here. And these will all become roots if you put them below the surface area. So that's one of the reasons why we make the hole so deep. So we're just gonna take it off of its support system here that we had in place. Okay. Now, the next thing we're gonna do, and this is gonna seem like it's really gonna hurt, is we're going to actually get rid of a whole bunch of those. Now, I wanna see what this looks like in the ground. We may end up getting rid of these two as well if they hang down on the ground. The next step is we actually take an egg. An egg has lots of really good nutrients for them, and we're gonna crack this egg and we're gonna drop it in the hole. Now, if you live in the city, you may not wanna do this because trash pandas, AKA raccoons, may try to dig up the egg. The other thing is very important is to actually crack it, because otherwise you could end up with a rotten egg in the hole at the end of the season. Anyway, we crack the egg. It adds lots of things that the tomatoes need. If you can get away with doing it, I highly suggest try to crack the egg in the hole. Now, come have a look down in this hole and see how far that's down in there. That's a long way down. All right, so then it's just a matter of putting the dirt that we specifically kept in the container back into the hole and pushing down. Now, he's a little floppy right now, so we're gonna give him his support back. Tie him off. And then once it reaches up onto here, then we can start to tie it off. Now, if you have a look here, do you see this leaf here, this branch right here? It is hanging down a little bit too low, so we're just gonna get rid of it. And we'll put our label there, we put our straw back around, and we're ready to move on to the next one. All right, let's get our next one in the hole. So let's just go over this again. We're gonna clear our area, so we're down to the dirt. We've pushed the straw aside. We're gonna bring our bucket up close, and we're gonna dig our hole. The hole doesn't have to be very big. It's a very small kind of pot plant that you're putting in there, but deep is what it does need. Next step, we need an egg. So what the egg is supposed to do, it's supposed to help with blossom end rot. And I actually did an experiment last year where I did some all in the same bed, all the same variety. Some with an egg, and some with tums, and some with nothing. And the ones with tums and nothing, I had a few get blossom end rot, and ones with eggs, I had none get blossom end rot. We have our tomato. We are going to take our tomato and we're going to pinch off our bottom leaves. And again, have a look here. You see all those little nubbies? Those will become roots once this is down in the ground. Give it a little squeeze to help loosen it up. Squish it down a bit. Now, add our soil back in. Oh, any roots, get rid of those. So the other reason why I like to put sticks with mine, even though say this one was strong enough to stand up on its own, is that cutworms can't get around my tomatoes and bust off the tops if there's a stick there. So it's just a little extra protection for the tomatoes too. And there we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of these beds and we'll catch you when I'm done. All the tomatoes are in. Whew. We call this time of night bewitching hour. The mosquitoes are absolutely atrocious right now. That's why I have a very thin jacket on just to help keep them off. Okay, so just a few answers to some questions. Do you need to put an egg in the hole? Nope, you don't. Will your tomatoes still grow without the egg? Yes, they definitely will. Last year, like I said, I had done my little experiment just to see. I still got tomatoes, and big ones and healthy ones from all of the plants. Did I think that the ones that had the egg in the hole did better? Yeah, a little bit. Do you need an egg? No, but I have chickens, and at this time of year, I have piles of eggs, so it really doesn't hurt me any to do it. Again, if you live in a town, I really wouldn't suggest this unless there was a way that you could ensure that you don't have raccoons coming into your garden, because they can smell them, and like they dig through the trash, they can dig up your plants, and all those babies that you spent forever doing the seeds of and whatnot, you could lose them. Again, I have no problems doing this, so I go ahead and do it. All right, let's, I'll show you what the plants look like, and then I have to get the hose out and I gotta give them all a good soak. And we'll just quickly go over some of the varieties that I've planted. I have a number of more varieties. I just don't have any more space in the raised beds, and I will be putting them in the in-ground. We've just run out of time today to get that done. So that'll be another day. All right, let's go over what kinds we've got. Telling you what kinds of tomatoes are in these beds is actually helpful for me too, because this is a way for me to keep track. I planted them and didn't write anything down. But anyway, in this bed here, we have Black Crim in the front and Paul Robeson in the back, so the one next to the chicken coop. In this bed here, we have Black Beauty on this side, and then these ones are Pink Ox Hearts, and I'll go around and I'll collect all those, but I just wanted to remember what I had in what bed. So in the next bed over here, this one has Brady Wine in the back, and they actually have tomato leaves that are very, very different than most tomato leaves. So they're really easy to tell. You can see the difference. And then these ones are Great White, and I actually only had 3 Great Whites come up, so I have another Black Beauty one here. Oh, it's cool enough they can actually kind of walk around. And let's pop over to here. So this front part here, we have Kellogg's Breakfast. Man, that was an amazing tomato. Big, yellow. I think one of my biggest tomatoes last year was that one. And then this one is a new tomato for me this year. I ordered the seeds from Baker Creek. There was rave reviews on it. I wanted to try it out. So, I don't know if it's Dr. Witchy's, Weishy's, whatever. Anyway, Dr. Witchy's. That works for me. So I'm really excited to try that out. So, as you can see, my big tall tomatoes don't look so big tall in my garden now. And yeah, we'll move on to getting that garden done next. All right, so on that note, and the fact that the mosquitoes are getting really, really bad right now, and I've still got to do water, and we still have to put the goats and the sheep away, I am going to bid you adieu for tonight, and we will talk to you next time. Thanks for hanging out with us. Bye.